I studied with a monk for 5 years, and one of the things that he spoke about most was dissolving the boundary between meditation and non-meditation. In other words, the difference between mindfulness and meditation. The tidiest way I can explain this to you is this. Meditation is the dedication of distraction-free time to the practice of mindfulness. Now, if we get precise around that term, mindfulness, it's a translation from the Pali word sati, and sati means to remember. To remember what? Well, in this case, to remember to look, to remember to see what is as it is. And so we're going to meditate together right here, right now. And I'm going to talk to you about how to use what you do in meditation to inform what you do out of meditation. So take me to a quiet spot if you're not in one already. Pause the video if you need. And once you're settled, close your eyes with me and start by taking 3 long, slow, deep breaths. Settle in. Allow the mind to do whatever it's doing. See if you can let go of your grasp on it. Imagine the mind stream to be like a real stream, a babbling brook. The sound, the sight, perhaps even the feeling of water just flowing naturally. No need to interrupt it. No need to try to change it. Just let it be. If you're someone who thinks orally in terms of sound, like I did for most of my life, up until the age of 30, 35, due to my work as a musician, I thought in sound a lot. But maybe you're someone who thinks visually. Maybe you're someone who thinks conceptually. In whichever way you think, allow the mind to be doing that as if it were someone or something else. If you think in sound, imagine it's that babbling brook. If you think visually, imagine it's the sight of that water running. If you think conceptually, just imagine that there's some philosopher on a soapbox outside your window, doing their thing, but you don't have to pay attention. Perhaps as I speak, as we begin this exercise together, perhaps you're evaluating the value of doing this. Just let that tick on. You don't need to keep manually turning that wheel if that's what the mind is doing naturally. Then allow it to continue. And already, we're looking at something here that you can do post-meditation, just like you can do it during meditation. Of course, the difference is, during a sitting meditation like we're doing right now, you're undistracted. at least less distracted than you're likely to be when you're out in the world. Hopefully you have a quiet spot where you won't be disturbed. This is very important for all of us, to be able to have quiet time to do this kind of thing. When you go out into the world, then there's traffic, there's other people, there's work tasks. And if you've had a very hands-on approach with regard to your mind, if you whip the mind into shape in any way to encounter those things in the world, then you're very likely, when you're out there, to simply do things the way you've always done them. Here in sitting practice, you have the opportunity to reconsider. Hey, is the way I've always done things in the mind the optimal way to do things in the mind? Typically, due to our culture, we tend to over-effort with the mind. We tend to do more than is necessary for the completion of a given task. Here in meditation, we can consider questions like, what is the minimum I can do and still be aware, still be alert, still be functional? Many meditators struggle with dullness or even fall asleep during practice. Well, that's an example of doing too little. Though many of us, of course, are so tired living modern life that it's really not a terrible thing for you to get some extra sleep. Allowing the mind to do as it does, we take our hands off the wheel, even if only for a moment. Just letting the mind tick along as if it were any other sound in the environment, any other sight in the environment. We let go of that additional layer of control that we're raised to be so keen on, trying to lock the mind down or whip it into shape. This is the beginning of a deeper relaxation that actually can bring about indirectly a calming of the mind. Ram Dass said, "The thinking mind is a wonderful servant, but a lousy master. And oh boy, wasn't he right." Learning to relax in this way, you begin the process of demoting the thinking mind to the position of servant, whereby you use it consciously as a tool rather than being, in a sense, pushed around by it, by the momentum of simply doing things because you've always done them that way. Thinking thoughts because you've always thought them, feeling feelings because you've always thought them. Regardless of whether or not they're really appropriate to the moment. Do you really need to do all of the things you do with the mind from day to day? During your commute, at work, socializing with people? Or can you conceive of the possibility that you could actually fulfill all of your obligations in a relaxed way? It begins here. It begins with just allowing the mind to be as it is, to do what it's doing. As you gain familiarity with this practice here in sitting meditation, then very quickly you can consider, as you're going about your day, just for a brief moment here and there, hey, can I let the mind just be as it is for a moment? This is the practice I recommend you take with you today. If it's the evening, when you do this practice, you can think about it for tomorrow. Of course, return to this practice as often as you like. Gain that familiarity here in sitting practice. And then take the good stuff that you're doing, or this new non-doing, out with you into the world, without having to come and sit here, without having to close your eyes. Just looking for quiet moments throughout your day, perhaps between tasks, during the commute, in the bathroom. Those brief moments where you can, in a way, check in. Remember what we covered here and apply it. I'd love to hear how this goes for you if you try it. Drop me a comment. If you'd like to know where you're at in your mindfulness journey, you can take my 1-minute quiz. There's a link in the description. And if you enjoyed this teaching, please do all the things that tell YouTube you'd like to see more of them. I upload every single day, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.